Brand new movie that just hit theaters. This is a sequel to a big time hit of the first Wicked film in 2024, which led it to being nominated for Best Picture and multiple other major awards. In this film, after challenging the Wizards regime in Oz back in the last film, Elphaba, who once again is played by Cynthia Erivo, is grappling with the fact that she has now become the Wicked Witch of the West, while also trying to rally animals and other people against Oz to bring back some positivity to the kingdom. But while the wizard in this one, once again played by Jeff Goldblum, has given Glinda, who once again is played by Ariana Grande, Glinda the good title, as she is now a public figure in Oz and is the defender against Elphaba for taking over Oz. Also back from the first film is Jonathan Bailey, who's grappling the fact that he is got to get married to Glinda, but also has some personal feelings for Elphaba as well. Michelle Yeoh is back as Madame Morrible, who is someone who's trying to help get rid of Elphaba from Oz. Ethan Slater is also back. Marissa Bode is also back from the first film. And Coleman Domingo also voices the Cowardly Lion as we tie things in to the original Wizard of Oz movie. The film is 2 hours and 17 minutes and is PG. Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new review here at Max Talks Movies. My name is Max, and we're talking Wicked for Good. So, if you're new guys to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me. Ring that bell for notifications. I talk movies, TV shows, entertainment, box office, Oscar season. If you like any one of those things, this is the channel for you. We're trying to get to 400 subscribers to start 2026. So please, the next month, hit that subscribe button. Would really mean the world to me. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on Wicked for Good? First of all, have you seen the Broadway play of it? How did they adapt it? Did you like this movie more than the first one? Less than the first one? And where do you see this movie fitting into award season this year? And also, guys, please hit that thumbs up button. So I was excited for the first Wicked because John M. Chu, who also returns to direct this film, directed one of my favorite musicals of the last decade, and in the Heights. So I was excited for him to get this opportunity to even go bigger with Wicked. And I was still blown away by the first Wicked movie. It was definitely in my top 10 of last year. And this was a sequel that was definitely one of my most anticipated movies of the year. So I was very excited. I liked the trailers a lot for this movie. I just trusted everyone because it's the exact same team. They filmed Wicked 1 and 2 back to back. So keep the momentum going. So here are my thoughts on Wicked for Good. And I'll say this, I am disappointed by Wicked for Good. I don't think this is like one of the most disastrous sequels you'll ever see, but this movie to me is nowhere near the level of the first Wicked for an entire runtime. Now, I will say there are elements that I like a little bit more than the first film. There are performances I think that were improved on here. And I'll say this, the best part of the movie is the last 40 minutes of the film. It takes a while for, in my opinion, for this movie to really get into high gear and feel like there's an energy resembling the first movie. And I think the last 40 minutes was what I was expecting the whole movie to be. It was just the last 40 minutes. Now, the ending absolutely delivers for the movie. It's very satisfying. It can be quite emotional. It has the best songs in the last 40 minutes of the movie. And you really feel the epicness of the story finally come through in the final 30 or 40 minutes of the film. And I think it's always a good thing to leave the film with a smile on your face with the ending of this movie. I think for a lot of people, I think it'll overshadow some weak moments in the first two acts of the film. That the fact that the third act does deliver an A+ ending, I think many people will be satisfied enough that the movie has a very satisfying ending. And I think it definitely does. Ariana Grande, though, is by far and away the best part of the movie. Now, she was my favorite part of the film last year, but for the sequel, this really does at points become her movie because we really told Alphaba's story in the last film, and honestly, we still learn bits and pieces, but Alphaba already has the same goals in mind than she does in the last one. We learn a lot more about Glinda, her background as a child, what she really wanted to become, the fact that she's obviously wants to be friends with Elphaba and not get rid of the Wicked Witch and have that go away for her, but also realizing the fact that she just can't resist being in the spotlight that she's been thrust upon in this film and her very complicated relationship with Fiyero. as well. But it is a jaw-dropping performance as usual. She's unbelievable in this movie. Obviously, she can sing just like in the first film, but she has to be, in my opinion, the first film is a much flashier performance because she's going for a lot more comedy and very over the top moments, which I think works a lot for that movie. And that character was so full of herself in the first movie, and Grande was great. Her character is taken a lot more seriously in Wicked for Good, where she really is emotional in a lot of moments. She has to be very serious in a lot of moments as she's learning things not just about Oz, but also about her friend. Did her friend make all of the right choices in this venture? Is there a way they could be together, or are they just going to be hated for each other forever? It's a very complicated character, and I think you learn a lot more about her in a very serious tone in this film, which I really appreciated. I think Cynthia Erivo continues to be great in this film. I've said this for, God, I think like over 7 or 8 years now, how talented Cynthia Erivo is. So it's really great that she's finally getting her flowers in the mainstream. And I don't think she's quite as electrifying in this one than she was in the first film. But that doesn't make this a bad performance. I think she's excellent. And I also think Jonathan Bailey was a much more interesting character and performance in this film. And I thought Jonathan Bailey was good in the first one. I thought he was very good in this one. As well, just like the first film, the sets are just amazing. You can tell everything is real. The costumes are amazing. And that's where I think the positive stop for me. The first hour and a half of this movie, honestly, to me was bad to average. And I was shocked because this film is 20 minutes shorter than the first film, which I was actually excited about. But this movie has an extremely rushed and at points convoluted plot because there are so many leaps of logic characters have to make decision wise. Why don't they don't trust someone? It happens with a snap of the finger in this movie. And I really thought in the first film, when big things were happening, they would let you sit in that the moment and the characters would have to sit with their decisions for a big chunk of the movie. And we learn there's a huge chunk of the movie where Glinda is super awful to Elphaba. There's also they give you a lot of breathing room where she's very close with Elphaba. They don't just rush into that dynamic. The movie lets it breathe and really let you fully understand this relationship. But because not just is this movie trying to settle the key dynamic of Glinda and Elphaba and Oz in general, it's also culminating in bringing in the entire Wizard of Oz story into this film. We get Dorothy, we get the Scarecrow, we get the Tin Man. All those characters from the original Wizard of Oz are in this movie and have at points important roles. And for me, it just feels extremely crammed in and forced at times how important they try to make the original Wizard of Oz story a focus in this movie. And it feels like the film is racing to the finish line. Now, as I said, when it gets to the last 40 minutes, I think the film finally relaxes and breathes and lets characters reflect on things going on. But the first hour and a half is just, let's do this. And this person doesn't like this person, like this. And then the scene later, they're best buddies again. It just happens. Things happen in this movie so quickly because they have to get to so many different plot points. And another problem is a lot of these supporting characters in the first one have a lot more to do here. And that includes Nessa, who is Elphaba's sister, as Bach. And I just despise those characters. I don't think they're interesting characters. They weren't that compelling in the first film. They're really not compelling in this movie, especially Nessa, who comes off as more annoying and as a brat than she was in the first film. Bach as well has never been an interesting character to me in this franchise. Madame Morrible, I love Michelle Yeoh, one of the best actresses. In my opinion, was not very good in this movie, and I think it's half. Sometimes the performance isn't that great, but also she gets the worst dialogue to say in this movie, and it's extremely on the nose and cheesy. Didn't really think it fit that much, and I thought I like Jeff Goldblum, but there are just some rushed story points. There are some really, they force feed you the Wizard of Oz story. And then from a song level, I don't need a great musical to just have catchy songs. Like I'm not looking when I go to a musical, let's see how many songs I can remember humming when I leave the theater. I just need good music. I think the music here was fine, but there aren't those impactful songs like there were in the first. And there's like 4 or 5 songs I would take in the first film over this one. They obviously wrote a couple new songs. They brought back some different ways to use some songs from the first film. That's when I think the movie clicked, was when they were starting to reuse some songs from the first film. The actual original songs here just didn't leave me with much impact. And I think that's a disappointment. So I think this, to me, is a giant mixed bag. I wasn't expecting this to be like a bad movie. In the first hour, I was like, this is like bad. Like, not awful, just like not a good movie. And then as we get closer, and then the third act happens, I think then the electricity goes up for this movie. But I was just surprised. I just didn't feel like the movie had at all the same energy as the first film until around like the hour and a half mark into the movie. So overall, I think this is a mixed bag. I don't think it's an awful movie. I think the third act delivers what Wicked fans want, but I think the pathway or the yellow brick road way to get there was honestly very underwhelming and disappointing. So overall, I'm giving Wicked for Good a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm going 64% for Wicked for Good. What are your thoughts, guys, on Wicked for Good? Let me know down in that comment section. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys in another video very soon.